I'm rather taken with these little forms, and I have, this is a little PDF that you might, are you going to post this maybe?
Yeah, close it up.
There's a PDF file, and I'm sure it'll either be posted, and it's no better than this, I swear. I need someone to help me a little bit with graphics. But I have identified different axes for the simple little human form. And I make modifications, and I change this up a little bit as we go. But this is a simple form that almost anyone can do. Shoot, even I can do it. We have, there.
I'm working on it here.
That's okay, I can work with you. We have the head, which does not change the axis. That point is always the same. But at the base, we have 3 axes. And my printer wasn't quite good enough to pull this off. The center axis I called number 1. Arbitrarily, the front axis I called number 2. And the back axis I called number 3. And the only thing that you have to remember is as you go backward, the whole form moves forward. Just the opposite of where you put your axis. And I can show you what this, it takes me about an hour to do one of these, and I thought, well, that's not fair. So I can show you real quick what this looks like. And I begin with a piece of 12, I think this is 10 quarter. And it doesn't really matter what size you want. You can proportionally bring this little PDF up or down. I find this good for about an 11, 12-inch piece of wood. And you can change those on the fly, make yourself a little bit happier. And if you want to take a peek, I've got a few of these back here in different stages. Some that I'm just playing with, like this one right here. And you can see we've got the base. And the nice thing about these is that I can fold this, use it at the lathe, and do a direct mark off of where I have these pieces. You see that? Now, I'm on the first axis right now, and I'm going to put my secret weapon back here. My secret weapon is a little piece of black cardboard. And that provides the contrast to allow me to see these things. I'm going to turn this on. Here, we can do it from the top. I've got it. I'll pick up the speed a little bit. And you can see on the first axis, the legs, the stand, and developing the pelvis is about where we're at. The head is also on the first axis. And I'm going to change that going forward to where the legs are on the third axis, which will put them further back. You have a more defined posterior, I think, plus a more developed pelvic region. So again, that's your first axis. And once you finish with an axis, that's your one and only chance to do some sanding. You're never guaranteed to get back exactly to the same axis. The thing that's helped me is to label these. Thanks. I just had it upside down. So I know which axis is which. I turn them around. That's my specialty. The mistake that you make is totally up to you, but I get these turned around. And the distance between these is about the same. Let me pull this out. is about the same as this ring right here. So if you've identified the first one, the second one is an offset for that ring. Can you see that? That's my measuring tool. That's about as complex as I get. And the third ring is an offset like that. And if they're not exact, don't worry about it. I don't know, we got about 30 members, 20, 30, something like that in here. I can guarantee you, every one of us is a little bit different. When I first started making these, I would suggest you not make the mistake that I did. I made one that was really short, it was rather dumpy, everything was thick, and I gave it to my wife and I said, "You're my artistic inspiration," and I was on the couch, that was all it took. Yeah, that was not pretty.
What is your drive center?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
I can shoot it right in there.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
It's a regular drive center. It hangs out just a little bit further. And I use this because when you're doing eccentric work, sometimes you can work without having the headstock get in the way. I don't know if the headstock's ever been in your way, so you're cutting over here, and you're in trouble if you hit the headstock. So this sort of eliminates this. This narrow one.
Clint, did you alter that yourself?
No, this one, yeah, you give me way too much credit. This one was a gift from Jean-Francois Escalon. I studied offset turning in 2014 in Agen, France with Escalon. And that was where I really picked this up. And I met Escalon in 2009 at the symposium it was in Albuquerque. He was the artist there at the time, and when I saw him work, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So it just, as many woodturners as you can play with, talk with, the better off you'll be. And it's good form. I pick up things from everyone that I talk with, and with any luck, they can pick up things from you. Woodturners are particularly good at this. This one has a little broader mouth. There we go. The difference between these two is that if I get a catch here, it really doesn't catch at all. It'll just off the wood. This one isn't that much grabbier, but this one you just have to use a very, very gentle touch with. This is manufactured by Vicmark, and it's that guy in Vegas that sells it. Woodworkers Emporium, and I don't know what he charges for it. Oh, we're going to go to the second axis. Whoa. Almost dropped your $250 battery pack. Too many of you would never make it to the door in time. All right, so when we look at the second axis, that's right here. That's the top of the hips and the pelvic region. So we'll put this back in, go to the second axis. And it is important to basically go from the tailstock toward the headstock. Tom, you did one of these, is that right?
Yes.
Did you have any difficulty with them?
The midsection was a little tough for me, but you helped me out.
Well, that's right. We did. We worked on that together. So, I have this not firmly held, especially when you're cutting, because now we're thin here, and it will flex a little bit if you if you use a heavy touch button. And you can see, it's hard to get back to the exact same area, but you can see what we're looking at back here is the back and the top of the hips. As a matter of fact, roll the hips over a little bit to come back to the legs. That way you don't have what I call angle butt. Now we're not trying to be exact with this. All we're trying to do is represent the human form in our own little way. Now I'm on the third axis. And you can see, now we're at the shoulders. Let me get a little bit, maybe over where I am. There we go, that's it. We've got the shoulders and the neck. And the neck is actually kind of important. If you decide to do a female form, it should be a little longer and a little slenderer. And as a matter of fact, if you're doing a female form, you might want to accentuate some willowness in there. You know, not my place to judge the type of ladies that you like. If you want one short and stout, that's fine with me too. And I had started one this afternoon because it's just terrible to go through here and not have anything to do. Like I said, it would take me about an hour to get this done. So I did everything here except for the head. And the head turns out to be fairly important because if the head is off, there's no way in the world that someone's going to look at that and say, yeah, that's a human.
Are you going hole one?
Hole one, this is the first axis. And you can see we've got the legs and the stand on here. By the way, you should cheer for me on this because if it turns out at all, I'll give it to your president to, I don't know, raffle it off, put it in the bonfire, put a weenie roast, whatever you guys want to do with it is just fine.
Probably put it in a museum display.
Oh, the museum. Want any extra for that?
Well, you'd be in good company over there.
I do like to use the bidet, but I'm not going to use it tonight because my options of feeling with it are directly proportional to the number of people that I'm in front of. And I think that I've passed the critical number right here. But this is used all the time in France in the school, and I was considered a rank beginner because I couldn't use it. And before I went there, I really thought a bidet was some kind of a fancy French toilet, but no, it's a woodworking tool. Oh. I'm gonna have to stop bending over.
Put that in your breast pocket.
Breast pocket?
No, they don't
I've
have
got it
that.
in my back pocket.
You have that wire hanging all over.
Yeah.
You wind it right around.
This is why I don't turn in my necktie.
Yep.
Okay.
Clint, do you recommend starting with maple, hard maple, or
I like-
walnut, or
You can do whatever you like.
as long as it's a good solid piece of wood?
Yeah, I have a dream, and I'm going to do this, but I want to do one for the city of Chicago, not really for the government city of Chicago, but as a tribute to Chicago, which is a variety of people, a variety of sizes, a variety of different colors, and to me, that's what my area looks like. And what I'm looking to do here is to taper the lower 2/3 and round out the upper third, or maybe a 60-40 split. You don't want the widest part of the head to be right in the middle because that's not the way that we're made. So we'll see if we can make this turn out. And a lot of small cuts are quite a bit better than a few heavy cuts. And try real hard not to make these straight line. And in an ideal world, the back of the neck, let me turn this a little bit. Wow, you're really good at this. The back of the neck should intersect the base of the skull, kind of like you and I do. One more cut there, maybe. And don't lose your mind over it, because it is just wood. It is just a little form. And I'm going to call that good. As with most wood turning, speed is your good friend until it's your worst enemy. Did you see that? Stopped right there. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Just to let you know that this little center does give you some drive, but you don't want an awful lot of drive. You don't want a spur center there, for example. No questions at all while we're doing this? By the way, I was surprised about how many of you guys I actually knew. Either from Windy City or Chicago Turners.
A lot of us are, other than myself, remember the Chicago tour.
Yeah, you guys get around.
Big
Oh,
Ben demos.
here's something that you're going to use for sure. This is a number 6B art pencil, which gives you a nice dark line. But the thing that's really cool about this particular pencil is I've got a rare earth magnet in here with some gaffer's tape to hold it down. So the pencil is always right there on my blade. So even if you don't decide not to do any turning like this, you have something that'll help you out. We'll go home with that.
You want to go cheap on pencils, the elementary ed cat pencils are going on sale right now for back to school. And they're not quite that quality, but they're pretty good. They leave a nice black line.
You do. You want a pencil that has a black,
And
nice
you buy a
black
whole
line.
box of them for a couple bucks.
I got that from my father, who was a wood carver, as I'm sure some of you from the sign out front definitely are. He made fun of me for being a wood twirler. You guys call each other that? He stopped making fun of me when we compared end of year revenues.
Oh,
Yeah. Very practical guy.
what bank were you robbing?
We're getting down toward the end of it. I'm actually a little embarrassed by this. It's not terribly smooth. When you get to the top of the head, you'll want it to end up being flat. And I am going to just do a touch of sanding. Do we have any paper towel?
Yep.
Cool. I knew I'd forget something.
If you are interested in hard maple blanks to use for this, go to Rockler and buy the baseball bat blank. We 10% off. You can get that down to about 19 bucks, and it's 39 inches long. So you could probably make 3 of them.
I do kid you not, thanks. We are probably in one of the best spots on the planet for wood turning. Those of you that know Andy Kuby Andy is involved in all kinds of do-gooder sorts of organizations, and he had convinced me that I wanted to build a bridge with him for Engineers Without Borders down in Honduras. So we go down to Honduras, and we're there for, I don't know, a couple weeks. There's several teams that do this, but we get a day off and went to visit a woodturner out in the jungle, literally. And he's got cocobolo and ironwood and some kind of ebony just laying around in his yard. And I'm going to steal a piece of your sample. Oh, here we go. This is 240. This is fine. And I'm talking with him about woods, and he goes, so, you guys are from Illinois, right? I go, yeah, sure. And he says, you got maple in Illinois, right? Yeah, sure. Did you bring any? Exotic wood is just what isn't in your own neighborhood. And we're very fortunate. This is a tight grain wood, looks good. You can do a number of things with it. This is why I don't do well with glass jars in my shop. So I'm using Triple E. This is wax and a little very fine adhesive, not adhesive, God, that'd be a mess.
Abrasive?
Abrasive, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. I think we'll be good. When you get this thin and not that well held, sometimes it helps to put pressure on both sides of your turning so that you don't twist your turning off. It's hard to see here, but there we go. This is not held very firm. And this will push your turning skills a little bit. If you're bevel heavy in your turning, or you press under your wood, you'll have to ease up in order to do this. Now, I'm going to call that done, because you don't want to see me cut the top off, but I will give this to your president. You guys can do whatever you want with it.
There we go.
Thank you.
The second project, and we're just going to do two projects. So.
And don't put it in a fireplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second project is a little off-center box. God, I need a haircut.
I'm coming.
There we go. And this is like any of the other boxes that you make, with the exception of the lid. Well, two exceptions. One is the lid, and the other one is that I hate sanding. So I sandblasted this, and since it's ash, you can see it just knocked a lot of the knocked a lot of that summer growth out, and you're left with something a little bit interesting. So if you're tired of sanding, put it in a sandblaster. Why not? All right, I'm going to use a little bit different tool, but you don't have to buy this particular tool. I'll show you what I had used for years.
You know the species of that wood? Mulberry?
This was a piece of test wood that I had used in a jean. This is an older piece. And I don't know, some kind of French ash. Did I pronounce that right?
You be careful how you say that.
French ash. There we go. So here's a few shop-made chucks that I had before I could afford something different. And these were actually quite well. My suggestion is you test them with some weight first and don't trust them. So don't land in, I don't know what you call it here, but I call it, kind of the zone of concussion, so that if something goes bad with your turning, it'll fly off in an arc like this. So I tend to turn over here, and I wear a face mask. But these are just blocks of wood that I have tapped, and I put a piece of metal rod in here, which is 8 threads per inch and 1 inch in diameter. And you can tell I just roughly cut this off. I am not a machinist. So I had a few of these set at different angles. I only brought one, and I've got one that's flat, which you can slide back and forth. I also made a little, what are these called? Wobbly chucks. So you can dial in a little offset on that. But they're pretty easy to put together. So someone had asked me about this, and I said there's a little story behind it. I am a big fan of cheesy sci-fi movies and monster movies from the 50s and 60s. Did I wear this out? Am I coming across? I just
Unplug
died.
something.
I'm still on. Okay. Oh, all right.
I'd be dead on that.
So I could be, but I had turned this, and this is my little sci-fi watching buddy. So when the space invaders come to take over Earth, we tend to cheer for opposite teams. He hasn't had too good a record because 50s and 60s movies, they will usually let the Earthlings win. So we're through with this particular drive. Want to pass the drive around too? And I made a box. And I'm sure that you guys will make better boxes than I ever had. But this is not a special box. Nothing unusual about it. But now we're going to take just the lid part and play with that a little bit and hopefully make an angle on it. So I have, and again this is by Vicmark, and they have several different types of this. This is a ball and chuck kind of an arrangement right here. Very much like a trailer hitch.
You said Hickman? Hickman?
I'm lost.
P-I-C-K-M-A-N?
Oh, Vicmark.
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 Oh, Vic, V-I-C.
V-I-C.
Thank you.
M-A-R-C, is that right?
Yes.
That's right, thanks. So, in order to do this, I need a jam chuck for my lid, which I just so happen to have. And I'll put the jam chuck in here. And it helps to have like a little 1 degree bevel right on your tenon. And now we can tilt our jam chuck at a number of different angles. If I can remember which one I had. Oh, here we go. We have a pivot point, and we'll set it off just about like this. Now here, we absolutely do want a tailstock. I'll move my cardboard. Do you guys use these? It's a little golf ball you drill and tap the bottom of it. And if you don't want a point to hold this, you can use this on the end. And you can hold this without any damage to your piece. Have you guys done that? Oh, well, good. Pass this around.
I've taken the cover off here.
You've taken the,
Turn-
I have too,
turn-
but
Turn the cover off a
I,
little softer.
I've generally torn the cover off with
Playing?
the, yeah, playing. I don't know, I am not a golfer. I'm not a skier either, but I still
Although
slow
I
down
usually
the hill.
lose them by that time.
Don't get me going on my golfing jokes.
That's why I like Woodturners.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, I think we're good to go. The one thing that you're going to need is a witness mark. I'll put that witness mark right here. Can you see us? Because it is possible that this will twist. And if you can't get it back to the place it was originally, you've just lost the piece. We'll start out slow. And we're not going to go too fast. And Bill, I like this tool rest. By the way,
They're for sales.
I hollowed this out using your box rest. So thanks, Bill.
They are available through Bill Adjutson.
They're nice.
I have one at home
I've
also.
got 3, and I reached for Bill's first. I'll get my secret weapon once more. And this is primarily for me.
So you can see the profile as you turn.
I can see the profile as I turn. It really makes a big difference. Little cut, little cut. And this does not take long. You know, if you do a whole box, something that everyone here I'm sure has done a lot of, it's going to take just a little bit longer. Okay, I'm going to turn this off so you can see what's cooking. Can you see this profile beginning to develop here? I'll turn this there. Now you can see it a little bit. So what I want is to have this crisp edge all the way around. And I'm sure you guys are better at a lot of this than I am. So take your time, small cuts, and get as smooth a top as you can. And I find a little OG here helps out quite a bit. Be careful not to cut through the top. I think I have left plenty of space in order to do this. Oh, this is coming out pretty nice. The greater the angle, the more dramatic your lid will be. Unfortunately, the greater the angle, the more likely you're going to have a problem. Let's see if I've got that all the way around. I'd be surprised. Pretty close. Can you see this? So if you look at that edge, it's a horrible job turning. But we've kept our witness mark, And we've got a pretty decent slant going on.
Is there a preference of convex over concave, or?
It's what you like. You can have just a small slant on top, but I'm of the opinion that, you know, if you're going to do this, go for broke. So I put as large an angle as I'm comfortable putting on here. And it helps to put a little pressure down to steady your tool. And I have the advantage of being able to see right through here into the black paper. I believe that I have brought another secret weapon. Yeah, I did. A little laser. And you can see, you guys will be able to see it. You're not going to be able to pick it up behind us, but you can see that profile right through this wood onto the cardboard. Can you guys see that at all? But if I move it in, now right here, what I have is solid wood all the way across. So out here, I'm cutting, oh, I don't know, probably 85%, 90% air. But by the time you get to the center, you hit 100% wood. And that's the area where you can actually make a lot of changes, should you like. Hopefully, this will be about the last cut. And I've got my tool rest too high. You guys are really patient, I appreciate it. And since I'm held basically by good wishes and the grace of God and angels, I don't want to make that too thin. But we do need just a touch of sanding. And when you sand these, my advice to you is don't sand under power, because your sandpaper will leave the profile here, drop a millimeter or so, and then hit this crisp edge over here. You want your crisp edges. So do it either by hand or by a power tool that will set on here. And I'm not going to make you watch me sand. I'm going to give this one to you too, and then some poor member should be able to finish it. Yeah. Again, this one is yours. No questions at all?
Maybe we should have Clint here for 3 days and he just keep making.
Oh my God, there's so many projects, and I actually love them all. I'll get fairly thin because this is end grain. End grain is very, very strong. Base grain is very, very weak. Good enough. And the rest of this you can just saw off and come up with something that will make you happy. I'm going to put this back here now. Can you see the lift on that? It's a really, really simple eccentric project. And if you want to take a box and make it a little more interesting, this is the way to do it.
Thank you.
I'm moving more. Experimentation is really good for your craft and your art. And I don't know why it took me so long, but I finally figured these people, ladies in particular, need a hat. So I'm playing more with hats. I'm trying to put gowns on them. And my first attempt here was just to flame this, which I'm not at all happy with, but I do have a parrot. If you're a wood turner, you need a parrot or a gerbil or something that likes wood, because if you blow a piece, you can give it to your parrot and she just loves to rip it up. Here's another hat under construction, and it's a little gooey under there, but I have a product. We got that called museum wax. You guys heard of this? Museum wax. I'm going to take you back to the 3rd grade and say this has the consistency of a pretty thick booger, because I don't know how better to say it. And you use it about the same way. You make a little bead, you either stick it under her hat, or in this case on the bottom, and she's not going to blow over unless you have a cat that really likes gravity experiments. And these things tend to work fairly well. I haven't decided yet what to do with this hat, but I think my ladies, and again, there's nothing special about this profile. You can come up with this with no problem, but I think the next dress I do will be burned and painted, and I think that'll probably work out. Oop. Did I burn up all my time? Have I got a few minutes left?
Got a question.
Go.
The museum wax?
Yeah.
Is for stabilizing it, to put it in place?
Yeah, let's use this. Is this the one I gave to you?
No, it's not here.
Oh, good. Because I'd be embarrassed. This one's really bad. That one's bad enough. Take a little bit of this.
Pretty nice.
That goes to the president. Tom, that's yours. And you can see what it just roll it. It's just think back to the 3rd grade and you're trying to get rid of a booger, and that's really about the best way I can do that. Apply it to the base, and I'm not going to put it on your lathe. I'll put it right here. And there. You can see now it's a lot less likely to tip over. Let's put this together.
Why don't they call it booger wax?
I wasn't invited to the meeting.
Nobody wants to